Greetings, fellow citizens of the Dreadfort. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld, The Darkest Ages. Episode 62, Darkness Looms on the Horizon. What's the chance that one of the next negative events is a metal horror? I mean, it's never zero. We certainly have been hit by, like, a lot of anomalous monsters potentially infecting us with metal horrors. For those that don't know, metal horrors is like kind of like Alien, where like you have a horror under your skin that like bursts out like a xenomorph, and the chance to become a metal horror. So there's a bunch of different ways the metal horror works, but one is whenever a flesh beast attacks you, like one of these tough spikes, it can infect you with metal horror, which then presents itself later on. Additionally, random joiners, well, specifically, I think they have to be creep joiners, but creep joiners like Alex that we just burned up could also be a metal horror in disguise, where they can have a metal horror in their body, and then anyone they touch, like through surgery or whatever, can also become a metal horror as well. So there's a bunch of different infection vectors, if you will, to become a metal horror, meaning that like even if you are trying to isolate and insulate yourself from the metal horror threat, there's so many different ways that can happen to you that it's very challenging to thwart. Can you name the monsters I capture for electricity? No, they're not pets. They're just entities. As you can see, there's nothing for me to do here. Chimera, we've been burning your brain. I love it. You didn't notice the similarity between the metal horror and the xenomorph? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty similar. They burst out of your body, and they're lurking. You don't know who's infected. It's also kind of like The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. But, like, maybe even more similarly. The Thing, of course, was like a flesh beast, essentially, that doppelgangs as a human. But, you know, they have the whole weakness of they can't replicate metal. So they're the opposite of a metal horror. They're a flesh horror, if you will. Okay, I obviously overhunted bison meat, but whatever. You haven't seen The Thing? Oh, The Thing is a classic. It's very well done for, like, movies of that age. Yes, it's a very solid movie. There's a few, like, I really don't like horror genre movies myself. Like, I don't find them scary most of the time. But there's a few that I think are just, like, so supremely well done. They're hard to, you know, they're despite the fact that I don't care for the genre, I could recommend them. Like, Aliens, or The Thing, or, you know, Jaws. You know, some of the horror masterclass films. Wasn't there an awful sequel having something to do with The Thing? Oh, I have no idea. Again, I don't watch horror, so if there is, I don't know of it. Alright, where's my threat, Randy? I turned you up to 500, and you're just like, alright, 500 times 0 is still 0. And Klein also has an Inspire Tame with his Animals 3. Well, go tame, like, a field mouse, I guess. Name it Boo. We ought to be getting a massive windfall of booze soon. Speaking of boo and booze. But my wood count has been decreasing. I'm going to allow cutting for the tree zones that are closest to the bridge so that we can start topping up our wood again. I know, Boo's a hamster. Yeah. Shambler's Approach. There's only 4 of them. Alright. Cool. We'll send out a greeting committee, but like, hey, Randy, is that it? I'm going to approach the Shamblers, and it's going to be like, guess what? Pit horror, or something like that. Oh, forget. Don't send Sean anywhere. Sean is like frail and can't move at all. Randy's just making me comfortable lowering my guard. Yeah, but I have a long relationship with Randy, and I know not to trust Randy like ever at all, even a little bit. So like, Randy can pretend to be nice, but I know better. Little bioferrite, little shard. Lillian, you grab the shard before you come back in. I don't care about the bioferrite. I think we have more bioferrite than what we know to do with. We have 400. Redoing the close zone just to be a little bit more permissive. Give them more options about what trees to cut down. I don't want to get too close to map edge, because like some of the anomalous monsters are really fast and will run you down before you can take cover, especially if you're like Sean and can't move worth a damn. Is the amount of shards I have roughly equal to the amount of successful battles? No. Some anomaly, like the Noctalith, gives you lots and lots of shards. Right? Defeating the Noctaliths give you like a shard per Noctalith or whatever, plus like the finish, etc., etc. And then on top of that, I've been using shards. So every time we make a shard inhibitor, that's a shard used. So we have 6 inhibitors, which means I've used up 6 shards. And I'm sure I've used shards elsewhere too, I'd imagine. Maybe not, though. Knowing this scenario, check for cougars. Yeah, there was a cougar. There is a cougar down here. But in terms of threats, I believe that is in the statistics. Major threats, 46. Enemy raids, 21. So we've had 46 major threats over the course of 333 days. Oh, hey, we're half Mark of the Beast. So doing the math, that's like a major threat every 7 days or so. And those, like, a few shamblers coming in was not a major threat. FYI. Like, that's not what counts. That is what the game considers an incident. Not a threat. RimWorld doesn't do a very... It doesn't even attempt to explain the, like, the differences of these things, though. Okay, wood count is going back up. It also means that people have not been on guard duty, but that's okay. I feel at this point, I should just, like, take a new task or something, because it's so weird that we have just all this downtime. Although, if you talk to anyone who's ever served, you know, in the armed forces, it is extremely long periods of boredom interrupted by adrenaline-fueled panic. That is the norm, from what I've been told. Not that I ever served. Oh, you were trying to make... Okay, got it. Why is this saying I need an animal pen? We had a Boomalope self-tame that I can't release because it's not within a zone that I'm allowed to go. Hence the pen needed. I don't care about a random Boomalope. Yeah, hurry up and wait is the Armed Force motto. Exactly. Yeah, and I am taking more wood from the outside. I am cutting trees down here and here. I would set up a zone in the south, but it wouldn't lead us anywhere good. Maybe we go kill a cougar. In memory of Scorpio. Who got... Scorpio got a threesome he didn't ask for. Sounds dirty, but he got ganked by 2 cougars. Well, I guess it was dirty. They did him dirty. And then you 3 will continue hunting. So what else is there to hunt? We've got a forest owl cat way up there. I think what I'm going to do is, like, go shoot that mumlo so it stops annoying me. It will set a forest fire or whatever, but, like, what? I don't care. Good. Burn it. You approve of that hunt? One thing I was actually thinking of is to not butcher it. Let's see. Cougar corpse. Hey, Valka. Where are you? Yep, she's doing it. Perfect. Oh, while we're out here, Lilin, you cut plants. So unrestricted, harvest the area. I wish the harvest the area task was like a real one, where like you actually harvested the area. You didn't just harvest the one thing and then walk off. Pity the mod doesn't allow for skinning. Yeah. But now you have a cougar. Of course, it's like entirely unrelated to the cougar that actually killed you, but the sentiment is there at least. So we still have that owl cat there that I've yet to deal with. We'll deal with that in the morning. We're just trying to keep the surrounding forest as like safe as possible, which is easier said than done. Now I have to watch out for lung rot in the area. True. I think the amount of lung rot that a single corpse puts off is just not very much, and unless someone is like praying at all these graves and refusing to leave, like I don't think there's a likelihood of that happening. Okay, here we go. We have an 18% chance to convert the very annoying Mike to our ideology. Please, please, Randy. I know I've raised the threat skill up to 500%, but please, just allow this to happen. Mike has been insufferable. Mike has fought everybody. Look at Mike's face. Mike is like, yeah, I'm having none of this. Stick me on your altar, I don't care. It's gonna be, like, terrible. Or ineffective, isn't it? Come on! Just... Oh, it's effective, but that doesn't matter. Effective is not enough. No. An attempt was made. It's good social training, at least? Yeah, I suppose it is. Can't hurt. But yeah, I mean, he's gone down 30%, and it's going to go up way more than 30% before the next chance I have at a conversion ritual, which is in 20 days. So anything but masterful is just not effective at all. All that does is gives us at least good vibes for a week. Of like, ooh, we had an effective conversion ritual. It's like, yeah, in name only, but sure. Celebrate your wins, I suppose. What's the mod that gives them detailed faces? It's called Portraits of the Rim. And if you're wondering, it will not work on, like, modded xenotypes. So if you're using mods for, like, modded xenotypes, obviously it's not going to generate a face for them. And the mod list is always in the details. Always, always, always in the details. Can I keep it low by continuing to regularly convert? No. The conversion that a moral guide can do moves the needle such a small fraction that there's no point. All it's going to do is upset Mike. So he goes up in his certainty 2.2 per day, and like a conversion, so in like 3 days that's like 7% ish, right? In those 3 days, Ginger could move it down like 4%. So it's like I think I created the analogy before of like trying to mop up the ocean. It's like you're just never going to be done. You can't mop up an ocean. That's just not going to happen. And this is a result of a few different things. Too smart doesn't help, right? Global certainty loss factor is reduced by half. And then Mike's ideology also is a proselytizer, which super doesn't help. Because being a proselytizer means that you just don't listen to other people in terms of conversion. So those two factors combined means that Mike loses certainty at a fifth of the rate of normal. So we would need to convert him 5 times harder, but I can't do that. I can't have moral guides do 5 times more conversion attempts because there's a cooldown that, and you can only ever have one moral guide. So it's an impossible task outside of a masterful conversion ritual, which does all of it all at once. If we didn't have rules against it, the only other viable way would be to imprison him. Because when you're imprisoned, the warden tries to convert you daily rather than, every 3 weeks. And that frequency would eventually add up. But anything short of imprisonment wouldn't work. And because we don't allow imprisonment, there's no solution other than to hope for a masterful conversion ritual. You meant keep it low enough that a full conversion ritual could do enough? Well, the thing is, we just had an effective conversion ritual and it did 30%. And as I just finished saying, Mike is going to gain all 30% back, regardless of whether I try to keep converting or not, by the time I have access to the next ritual. So what I'm trying to say is the only possible chance to convert Mike is a masterful ritual, but a masterful ritual fully converts you no matter what percentage you're at. So there's no point in doing incremental anything, because there is no amount of incremental gains which matters here. The only thing that matters, what I'm saying is, if I played just this conversion game for like 10 years straight IRL, nothing would work short of a masterful ritual. No amount of keep converting, no amount of talking. It's either imprisonment or masterful ritual. And the problem is the talking convert here is just going to piss him off too, and then also burn the cooldown of preach health, which keeps Lilin and Major alive. No, Lilin and McGee alive, because Lilin and McGee are missing kidneys. So when they get sick, I can have them imbibe the immunization draft, but because they have only 1 of 2 kidneys, their immunity gain sucks. So there's also the argument to say tying up preach health to try to convert Mike is reckless, because it could get our pawns killed. You really don't like the way pawn certainty works? Yeah, it just is the way it is. And it as I said, this is a unique situation where Mike has both too smart, which makes him hard to convert, and also an ideology that is purely proselytizing, which makes that believes apostasy is abhorrent. So because apostasy is abhorrent, these certainty loss is tiny. So it's like trying to convert a cult member out of their cult. In real life, that's nearly impossible too. So in a way, this is a somewhat accurate depiction of real life, because I've known people who were in cults, or like not directly, but I've known people that had like family members in cults, and how hard it was for them to deal with that situation. Because it's like, you know, like one of my friends had a brother who was in a cult, and like was in an arranged marriage, and like was forced to have kids, and basically his whole life belonged to the cult. And the cult told them to cut ties with their entire family, so he couldn't even speak to his brother anymore. And it was just horrifying. And I think one of the brother's kids like wanted out of the cult, and it was just a big mess. But I'm not trying to necessarily defend RimWorld here, but I'm saying that this annoying situation of like someone that absolutely will not ever convert even after 3 years is like totally reasonable in real life. I think everyone knows someone that has such staunch beliefs in something that is, you know, that they're unwilling to even hear an alternative opinion, despite being faced with, you know, whatever, facts, etc. Alright, we got psychophagy. We're not going to be using it, but we now have psychophagy, which we understand it. So we're going to start to understand skip abduction next. Okay, for real, Randy, where's my raids at? Now, I guess it has been sort of a normal incident pacing. Spilling coffee out my face. So next time the convert is off cooldown, I'll show you why it's like impossible. Just to back my words up with facts. So they've already gained, you know, 2% since yesterday, and it will just keep going. I think what I'm going to do is risk the dogs free roaming. Because if there's a reason for them to be hauling something from far away, it might be helpful for them to help to haul the wood that we've been cutting. And I don't necessarily want to sacrifice the dogs, but like, they are an advanced warning system. In the mod, the Fog of War mod, if you're wondering, there is an option, not that I have it turned on, but there is an option that animals can provide vision. So allies provide vision, prisoners can, but I have that off. Wild animals and fog are still shown in the wildlife tab, which I have on for my like sanity or whatever. Raids can be hidden, and then also there is a I swear it was in here that like, oh, trained animal can see multiplier, turrets, etc. There are all options here. So if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this is an example. Dom, Seb, being a trained animal, is providing vision to us, being out here. So technically speaking, you could have dogs zoned on the docks, or like in their beds or kibble, and have like watchdogs. Great, now the stupid Scruff McGruff song stuck in my head. Thanks, Scruff. Oh, we're pretty good on wood now. Yeah, I will say it's actually been nice to have the animals provide some vision, right? Allowing them free roam like this. Paired with the guard towers, I'm seeing a little bit more than I normally would. Well, I must say, this was not the peace I was expecting. Got an hour of peace so far. I think that will change soon. Alright, Ginger still has a day and a half left on Convert. And Mike is up like 3%. Ooh, we're getting another harvest of chocolate. For some reason, we haven't been eating it. I don't see that we have whittled down our chocolate. I guess people just like their like lavish meals or fine meals that much. We did have a harvest of the hops. Are we brewing like crazy now? We are. Sweet. Yeah, these kegs are getting filled. Well, it might be celebratory beer at the end of things. How long does the Gullah Stool have left? I could harvest it early. Same with the Devil Strand. They're both sort of ready. I am looking at the ambient temperature because I know that we're heading into the winter. And once the temperature is near 0, the Devil Strand is going to need to be covered back up because it already is negative growth modifier as a result of the cold. Is the chocolate allowed? It is. I changed the meal policy to allow chocolate. They're just not eating it. And I don't know why, but it's their choice. I can force a vodka to eat it. Chocolate is a food recreation, so it's a new rec type, technically speaking. And we'll see if vodka do that in just a moment. It's too bitter? Yeah, chocolate without sugar is pretty intolerable. IRL. There we go. So as you can see, food consumption 14%. Recreation is obviously maxed as a result of eating that chocolate. So, they can eat it. I just don't think they have been in high volumes. It'd be interesting to see if, like, because I know chocolate isn't like a social drug. But it'd be cool to be able to like assign an allowance like that. Maybe there's a better term for it, but because there's a lot of food mods. There's a lot of food mods that introduce the concept of like desserts or whatever. Plus, vanilla RimWorld has chocolate, and chocolate is a rec type, and one of the other rec types for consumption would be drugs. So I'm surprised that there isn't a way to like assign a certain amount of chocolate per day, like you would Psychi tea or beer, because they're very similar in a way. And I'm not really sure why RimWorld doesn't have that ability, because it could. A wine merchant. Okay, it's not who I thought was going to show up. Rizabalaga? I'm just gonna call you Riz. Riz the Optimist. Ginger, you gonna wake up? No, probably not. Denied joining. That's funny. I actually have a mod that allows you to banish people without issue. So it's funny that it doesn't cover the whole denied joining possibility. It's like an oversight of the mod, I suppose. Well, technically speaking, if it has no punishment for banishment, that's all it really needs to do. Oh my god, Ginger, come on. You've slept. No. Get over there. All you have is wine. Why did I rush over here? God. All right. Goodbye. Get your wino riz out of here. All right, in 7 hours, we'll be able to see the effects of a convert, which... And how little it would matter to Mike, who's gone up 6% since the effective ritual. Also, I think we are due for our solstice soon, right? Let's see. 5th of December. Never mind. Or Decemberary. It's coming, but it's not soon. It's a very low % chance for success. Someone on... I didn't check their math, but someone in YouTube comments calculated it as 12% chance for miracle healing. Which, I mean, you know, is sufficiently low. I would say. Change the Sears goal to convert Mike. I mean, we could just banish Mike. So converting Mike through the ritual changes his reduction 4.3%. The problem is the cooldown of this is longer. So even if I was keep converting, he would still go up every 3 days by 2.5%. What I'm saying is, no matter how much Ginger tries to convert Mike, it will never be... Mike's certainty will never be a net negative unless I get a Masterful Ritual. That's what I was trying to say. It doesn't really matter. Because this isn't enough. Whereas everyone else, it would be a lot more effective. It's just not effective on him because of his ideology and personality. So that's why I didn't bother. Because I knew that. Because I could remove 4% of that 77, but so what? It's just going to go back up to 77, you know, after 3 days. Or it will actually go higher than that. It'll go up to 80%. So, you know, it's like, why bother? Is there only one chance for healing per year? There's 2. There's the spring or summer and winter solstices. That's our ideologies. And both carry a chance for miracle healing if the solstice is good quality. Or unbelievable, I should say. At this point, I'm like very much willing to believe that Randy is trolling me. I am going to allow my people to mine out this mountain. Because if Randy is trolling me, I might as well just like make the best out of the piece. And the thing is, I feel like as soon as I do that, Randy's going to be like, oh, you were trying to take advantage of the fact that there was peace. Well, here's a raid. So this is more or less like my way to trigger raids is I'll take advantage of the fact that it's peaceful. See? Big brain plays here. I know Randy. Randy's like, oh yeah. You thought it was calm? Huh. False. Okay, so as I expect or suspected, there is an overhead mountain here. So if we want to remove this, we'll have to build pillars for it. They won't wade through the water. So the way the pathing works in the game is if you have painted a full valid path from point A to point B, that's the path they take. It's only if this line here was not painted would they wade through the water. Basically, they stay within bounds as long as they're able. Wildlife check. We're actually clear. Oh no, there's a Tyrol. And it's hanging out right where the mining is done. Lillian, you want to solo it? Such a bad idea. But she is mighty. Oh yeah, you're cutting it up good. Get him. Oh, what's up? Shot to the heart. It's pretty reckless given that they're like super fast bears. The Tyrols in this mod pack are like drop bears. Oh god, drop bears. Well, Randy hasn't taken the bait. I sort of assumed that, like, using the outside would trigger Randy to be like, okay, so let's punish you. But, like, not yet. And it's still above freezing. What is the grow season supposed to be? Up until the 11th of September? So, like, according to the game, I have 2 days of, like, grow left, given average temperatures. So I'll just keep an eye on that. And these unmined spots are so that it doesn't collapse on my head. Oh, Mike. You absolute jerk. How many times have I attempted a... I think at this point, I've tried to do a conversion ritual for Mike about 5 times, and it has a 1/5 chance of success. So I'm like pushing into the statistical anomaly of failure. Not quite yet, but like I feel like I'm heading in that direction. Oh, that's right. Well, Dory is currently mining up. So I think I'm going to keep Dory mining rather than making art. I still am starting to feel real trolled by Randy. I set him up to 11 and he's giving me 11 nothing here. With my luck, it's going to be like an impossible amount of like devourers or something stupid when I finally get raided. Like a death stack of devourers or I don't know, we'll see. Maybe even a flesh mass. That'd be fun to try to deal with in medieval. So the purpose of mining this out is to improve the line of sight that the guards have over at their guard spots, so that we don't have like these giant shadows. Okay, we know what this is. Well, I'm not quite there yet in the whole like hell's coming, but all right, dogs. Doggies inside. And then everyone else restricted to the island. The sky is dimming. So we've seen this before. This is, of course, the Noctalith event. Let's see. I am going to want to put some lights up around the colony with the amazing amount of wood that we managed to harvest, so that there is no shadow, because shadows kill. And I'm just having them be regular torches, not wall torches. Regular torches should be fine. And it actually makes it slightly easier to remove post-event. The last time we had this event, we had a lot more, a lot smaller of a colony, which makes this event a little harder to deal with. Trying to like death-proof the whole base, but I'm all for it. Time for pitch black in game. Yes. Time to embrace the darkness. We don't need that torch. Now, this time around, we do have flare packs. Disruptor flare packs. And maybe what I'll do is go over to my Bioferrite Shaper and make some additional ones. So I'll make 3 more Disrupt flare packs. Because the flares do cast light, and that light can be useful... Oh, come on. That light can be useful to keep the demons at bay. And I'm roofing up the torches so that they can't be snuffed by rain. Someone got fed up with Mike and decided to punch his lights out. Alright, that should be pretty good illumination. It's not... Oh, I am missing this barn. This is, honestly, a very annoying event to deal with in medieval times. Because of... It's not normal to have, like, a crazy amount of lighting in a medieval colony, just because of how expensive it is to use, torch combustion to illuminate things. So... We'll make do, but... Ugh. I'm glad I have all this wood, though. Alright, do we have dark spots? I think we've... So, knowing the ambient temperature and how it's going to get colder, I don't want to have to illuminate the farm, so I'm just going to roof it up now and just not deal with it going forward. They attack animals as well? They don't, but the reason why I illuminated the barn is so that we can deliver hay and not get, like, ganked while we're there. Because there's, you know, there's a non-zero chance that we get ganked wherever there are shadows, and it sucks. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld: The Darkest Ages, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind this series has since ended. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers of you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Dread Knights.